Welcome back. This is Susan Hyde with The Confident Mom, and we are in week 3, controlling the environment. So, hopefully, over shifting your focus and also examining your self care routines, you kind of have seen some fluctuations and changes in how your house has been running. So, yay for you and your work. So, today we're going to talk about controlling the environment. So, I don't think you would disagree with me, and it's certainly not a secret that moms are like the barometer in their home. So, your entire family feeds off of your attitude. They can sense your energy, whether you're having a bad day or maybe you wake up and you're really happy. It's funny how they truly sense that, and everybody responds to how you are presenting yourself for the day. So, if you wake up on the right side of the bed, um, it's amazing how your day can go really well, and your family is just kind of like very accommodating. But if you woke up and maybe something happened right away when you woke up, or you're just kind of not 100%, it's like they sense that too, and they can feed off that. So today we're going to look at some steps that you can take in order to help control the environment to be as positive as possible. So taking care of yourself, which we talked about last week, is critical, and we spent enough time talking about that. But in order for you to be the keeper of the home, you really do need to be taking some action steps in this area. It doesn't just happen that you're going to have a home that runs smoothly. So I love that there are resources available. So I have the weekly household planner that I have put together, which is free for moms. And I know I've heard from so many of you that say that this has just been a game changer for you and for your family. You're no longer having to think about things to do. You can just do the step that it says to care for your home that day. A lot of things that maybe you forget about. So that's a resource. Maybe use a different planner, but that's a resource. So let's take a look at some other things today that you can do as a mom in order to help control the environment. So one of the things that we know is really important for children is to have structure and stability. So not only for kids, but really for moms. I know for me, when I am out of my routine, it produces anxiety for me. And so it's just a reminder for me what it's like for a child, where maybe every day they get up and something's different. So that repetitive behavior and habits that are created are really important to help our kids feel some kind of stability. So what part can you play in that? It's having some routines. So let's talk about that. So do you already have some routines in your home? Maybe you have a morning routine for your child and a bedtime routine, or maybe an after-school routine. Those are some places that you can start, which I think can be super, super helpful. Also, if you're kind of lost on what that looks like, you can definitely Google, children's bedtime routines, and you can find all kinds of stuff. If you happen to have my back to school guide, there is a lot of information on routines and, typing up or having checklists and those kind of things that you can put together for your children. So that is another resource that you have. But you can take that one step further. It's great to create these routines for our kids, but we need to do the same for ourselves as moms. So looking at things that you can do ahead of time to prepare for like the morning, that is one of the areas that is definitely one which ends up producing a lot of conflict and unresolved situations. Everybody seems like we're always running behind. So, what can you do the night before in order to resolve that ahead of time? For me, um, I know that setting up my coffee, making sure it's all set the night before, is going to it's a game changer for my morning. So, when I used to brew a full pot of coffee, I made sure that that was done the night before and that the timer went off so that I got up and it was already brewed. It made my day like 1,000 times better. So, if maybe you have a battle in the morning with your child getting dressed and picking clothes and all that, well, then why wait till the morning? Have that be part of your evening routine. Maybe making lunches doesn't fit in your morning either, or maybe you want to have your child help in that process. Move that task to the evening so that you can do it together. You don't end up having a lot of drama because you're, in a hurry to get it done. So those are a couple things. I know a trouble area for so many moms is having dinner planned. So if you plan your meals, that's awesome. So if you don't, I suggest finding a way to make that work for you and your family, because I know, because I used to do this, it would be 4 o'clock and I wouldn't know what's for dinner. The anxiety would rise and everybody could sense it in my house. And then they would start to misbehave. And then I'm still freaking out because I don't know what's going to, be on the table for dinner. And everybody would just have a meltdown. So what part was I playing in that? I wasn't being responsible in taking care of something that I knew would help resolve at least part of that situation by planning my meals. So making sure that that is done ahead of time, or at least, the day before. If you need to take something out of the freezer, make sure that that gets done. So what does that look like for you in your home? Another component I want to touch on here, which you're going to find information here on the blog post, is about setting up some house rules. And then the other part of that is also setting up consequences. So you can definitely do this on your own if your children are younger. Make some simple house rules. There's a little handout that you have access here on the post today that maybe will kind of kickstart some of that thinking. If your kids are a little bit older, then have a family meeting, because there's a better buy-in when everybody feels like they're being heard. Everybody has a chance to participate in making up some of those rules. So the rule part is really key, but the consequence part is almost as important, because for you as the parent, when somebody makes a choice to choose not to follow a house rule, then it's already written right there what is going to happen. And it could be anything from losing TV for an hour, or maybe losing it for the rest of the day, or maybe, there's another consequence that works for your family. But if it's already spelled out, you aren't having to scramble to think of what to do when somebody makes a choice not to follow one of the house rules. So I encourage you, if you don't have house rules, this is an area that you can focus. Don't make a 30-page document. Come up, if this is your first time, come up with 3 things that in your home are non-negotiable things. Maybe it's hitting, maybe it's disrespect, talking back, and, another item. Start with those things, and you can add more as things change. So you're going to see in the handout that is your action step for this week, is to come up with some house rules, and, plan that family meeting if it's appropriate for you and your family. And then I will be back here next week with our week 4 and jumping into another topic. So make sure you're taking the time each week to do the action guide. That's the only way you are going to see any change, is if you actually put in the time and do some actual logical thinking on some of these areas to change your habits. Alrighty, I'll see you next week.